Yesterday, Stephen Jones said on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas that absolutely Mike McCarthy will be back. And I'm not advocating that McCarthy be fired. I'm advocating an objective look at the operation and ask yourself, are you where you expected to be, and are you getting the most out of your head coach? It's like I said earlier, you got great coaches, and then you got all the rest. And the great coaches are obsessed with detail, obsessed with new ideas, obsessed with repetition and practice and ensuring that the things they come up with are going to work when it's time to go play. And as of right now, credit to the Joneses. This is the perfect time for the Cowboys to try to push their chips in the middle of the table and go next level. And the question is, can their current coaching staff get them there? They very well may lose Dan Quinn, which undoes a lot of the good things that happened to them defensively this year and puts them in a spot where they better make a good hire for a replacement. They could lose Kellen Moore. They may work out some backroom deal to keep Kellen Moore down the road, which is still permissible. I confirmed that yesterday. You can do a deal with a Kellen Moore now that he would succeed Mike McCarthy at some point in the future, and you would. It's an exception to the Rooney Rule. You don't have to do an external search if it's written up and it's clear that that's the commitment that's made. That's a way they could keep Kellen Moore. But regardless, Chris, I just don't think it makes sense, and maybe Jerry Jones isn't going to say it because it will want to create a whole new narrative on the topic. It doesn't make sense to refuse to at least take a look at where you are and ask yourself whether or not there's a better way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would. Again, I think with this one, let's put it in perspective. Year one when Mike McCarthy was a disaster. The Mike Nolan being the defensive coordinator, not having the right players for that 3-4 scheme. It was a debacle. It really was. And then, of course, you had the Dak Prescott injury on top of it that really made things tough. But even before the Dak Prescott injury, we had some Mike McCarthy moments, game management, what the hell are they doing, those type of things, certainly. This year, early in the year, it reared its ugly head once again where we questioned some of the game management issues from Mike McCarthy. But they got the team turned around. They were certainly a lot better. Dan Quinn turned it around, I think things with the Dallas Cowboys to me are overrated. That's what I would say across the board. I think Jerry Jones overrates his roster and how good it is. Yeah, there's some pass rushers and Micah Parsons. I don't know if there's any great defensive tackles there. Hey, corners, pretty good. Safeties, Offensive line, completely overrated. Ezekiel Elliott, come on. We know that now. He's your number 2 running back. Amari Cooper, all that money there, real good, great superstar. Not sure about that. CeeDee Lamb, it's real good. I don't know if I'm ready to say superstar. He's not in the top 5, top 10 wide receiver in football conversation. So I think they're overestimating how good they are a little bit. They're not as good as the 49ers who were on the field with them the other day. The 49ers, I would take their roster over the Dallas Cowboys. And then I think you get into the coaching staff. Again, Dan Quinn improved the football team. No doubt about it. Still, it was the 19th ranked defense in football. Let's not write home about it. It was like the Chicago Bears of 1985. The 19th ranked defense in football. They gave up a ton of big plays and a lot of big situations all year long. Offensively, come on. It's underwhelming. How many times did you hear me say it all year, Mike? They can't run the ball because the offensive line's overrated, and their pass game has no creativity to it. Dak Prescott was off, no doubt about it. But, man, go back and watch my podcast. I broke down their offense last week. Plays, repeat calls, simple concepts. Again, I question the people out there, and they're going to go like, yeah, okay, I understand Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn are like big head coaching candidates. But I don't understand is what I want to say. I understand, but I don't understand. I understand because everybody's gotten behind them, and the publicity is there. But I look at it and go, wait, the context, dig into this a little bit. Is it really that great? It's all a little overrated. Oh, whoa, you beat up on the crappy NFC East and went 6-0. And then beat up on the other crappy teams in your schedule and really had a no marquee win during the year. So to me, I think Jerry Jones is over-evaluating his football team a little bit in some ways too, across the board.
Well, and look, we talked about this yesterday. The play that was called at the end of the game, Kellen Moore's fingerprints are on that, along with Mike McCarthy. That was a failure. That was the play that they handpicked for that situation, and it just didn't work. It was a failure of execution and a failure of coaching. And I don't think that it's unfair for a football team, for the owner of a football team, to ask, if we get in this spot in the future where the season rides on this one play, this one moment, are we going to execute it right? Are we going to have the right play? Is it going to be coached the right way? Are we going to be properly prepared for it? Do I have one of the great coaches who pays obsessive attention to detail, or do I not? It's one or the other. And there aren't many in that category of pay great attention to detail and be one of the best in the NFL, and then everybody else. And right now he's got one of the everybody else. I'm sorry, but it feels like he's got one of the everybody else.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.